like to talk to you about the upcoming new moon in Capricorn, which I am not overly excited about. I've been looking at this one for a while, and members of Tier 23 know that I'm definitely not that excited about it. It's only going to be bringing up these collective themes that have really come through in this first week of 2021. I mean, we're entering the second week now. And there are reasons for this. So, first of all, the new moon in Capricorn coming up is going to go exact at 5 a.m. on the 13th of January. So, that's basically for those of you in the Americas, that's going to be basically nighttime on the 12th. So, 12, 13 depends on where you are in the world. And the thing about this new moon is point number one, it is conjunct Pluto. That's the first point. So, new moon conjunct Pluto in and of itself is a very powerful invitation. It's a very powerful invitation to set a seed that has really powerful ripple effects in humanity, society, the planet, the collective, call it what you want. I'm just double checking what info I told you. Yes, that's right. So, new moons in themselves are just powerful to begin with. But when you get it conjunct Pluto, that becomes an invitation to take all of this energy of intention and use it to create cycles of healing or further cycles of damage, trauma, violence, destruction, and chaos. And as we've seen in the past week, especially for those of you in the United States, we can clearly see which way the wind is blowing. And so it becomes even more important for people who are facilitating, for people who are setting collective intentions, for people who are simply trying to transform their personal relationship with larger reality around them. It becomes so much more important for all of us to look at this very, very pivotal new moon and to understand just what it means for us. Like I said, Pluto can regenerate, Pluto can rebirth, Pluto can transform, Pluto can heal, but at the same time, it can also destroy, it can rape, it can violate, it can lead something to war. It's all of these different things. And the way we actually manifest depends on how the collective is at the same time, all of us putting our intentions and putting our actions in tomorrow, or rather towards the new moon, into the same pot. And it's kind of like, in this sense, it's going to be a battle of wills. So some people, because they're focused on their spiritual path and progress for a very long time, kind of pack a little bit of a heavier punch in the collective. But it also depends on what alignment those people have. They don't have to be spiritualists. Sometimes people who have a lot of collective focus on them, especially if they're celebrities or politicians or just, really important or key figures in society, they also tend to have a very strong collective feel around them, even though it's not through personal spiritual merit. So whatever it is, we're going to need to be looking for and looking at individuals in the public eye, because remember, this is a new moon in Capricorn. This is all about people who hold that weight, who hold that power, who represent authority, who speak to the public and the collective. We are going to need to be looking at these individuals, and they're going to tell us which way that pendulum is going to swing, which way it's going to go. I'd like to tell you that everyone with the greatest and most loving intention in the world is going to see that world manifest, but we are not alone in this reality. There are lots of people who don't want that. There are lots of people who want to go into the other side of the tracks. And frankly, in a free will system, ideally speaking, we can't stop them, but technically we shouldn't need to. Everyone is actually truly operating on free will. The problem is a lot of the individuals who are trying to program these more destructive cycles into the collective have already signed off their will to something else. I don't want to go too much into those details, but anyone with empathy to see exactly what is going on behind the energies right now can see that this is not exactly human beings in and of themselves doing bullshit. There are larger collective forces at play. Now, one of the reasons why this particular new moon coming up on the 12th or 13th, depending on your time zone, is so important is because it is also going to be squaring Eris. Eris is at 23 degrees Aries, The new moon is at 23 degrees Capricorn, and Pluto is, of course, nearby at 24 degrees Capricorn. So, in some sense, it is also a seed that captures the energy of that very, very disruptive but transformative Pluto Eris square. So for those of you who have been following the Pluto Eris squares, go back. You can also go on my website to find previous documents on it. Go back and look at just what kinds of frequencies have been coming through each time the Pluto Eris square has gone exact. The thing about Aries is that she can be a force that stands for true individuation, a force that stands against the patriarchy, but at the same time, when she comes from a position of ego and me, I, that same energy of rebellion can turn into something that just creates chaos and discord and strife for everyone. So, even though there is a lot of healing potential that can come through this alignment, one can only access that healing if they come from an awareness of self that is not egoic, that is not selfish, that is not looking at reality through the lens of a zero sum game, that is not invested in its own cognitive biases, so much so that it will block out everything else that challenges it. So this is the kind of energy where we are really being asked to step up as compassionate and courageous warriors that operate from our heart center. That is the only way we're going to make this collective shift happen. And on top of everything, what we are also going to be seeing is that this particular new moon shall also be trined Vesta in Virgo. So I'd already kind of, gotten the message yesterday. I was thinking, what should I tell people? What would be the most useful thing for me to say? And I noticed that everyone in my family group, by family, you know that it's not about blood for me. It's about people who are really connected, at a deeper level. I suddenly saw everyone get knocked out one by one by one. Sickness, illness, something, 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 something. And a lot, I mean, it's not to say that it's always like this. A lot of the time I'm the person needing help. But I realized, okay, I had to get into my healer mode and go, okay, sort this, sort this, do this, make sure this person has this, make sure that person has that. And as I was doing everything and pushing myself to the utmost that I can do, because no one has a big magic wand that can fix everything. No one has that level of spiritual power where everything's suddenly going to be magically okay. I could feel myself going, oh my God, how do I do more? They need more help. What can I do? What can I do? And I kind of went, boom, that's the hook. That's the hook that this new moon is going to get facilitators by. When we feel like what we have is not enough, when we feel like, oh my God, the problem is so huge, you just don't have enough of yourself or in yourself to give, that is when people, not just facilitators, but that is when people open themselves up to contracts. So when you open yourself up to a contract because you feel you are not enough, or you feel like you need to supplement your energy with something else, that's exactly when you get nabbed. Because a lot of people have had their paths co-opted, thinking that they were doing a good thing, to save someone else, to martyr yourself for someone else, to go and do all of that old Piscean bullshit. So, when I saw this energy hiding behind all of this, I still did my job. I still helped my family. I still did what I have to do, making sure resources go here and then, making sure everyone does what they need to. But I could also emotionally detach from that role and say, I am doing my duty. The rest is in the hands of the divine. Let go and let God. Do what you have come to do. Do what you need to do to help and take a step back. And this is where you need to have faith. So, with all of this energy of impending crisis coming up, this is when we are going to need all of us to remember, do what you can do to help each individual, and then draw a line and take a step back, because no one can determine the outcome for someone else's life, or even indeed for this collective reality. So whether it's a health crisis in your family, or whether it's something for you personally, or whether you just feel overwhelmingly compelled to throw all yourself into whatever is happening in the collective, that is precisely the way Piscean, karmic, martyrdom, bullshit dynamics get in the picture yet again. Because not only is the new moon conjuncting Pluto, squaring Eris, trining Vesta the priestess, at the same time, it is also sextile Borasisi the false light, which is in the sign of Pisces. So if you have anything near that 23, 24 degree point in Leo, which if I'm not mistaken corresponds to certain fixed stars in the Hydra constellation, for those of you who are interested, if you have any fixed points in late Leo, that becomes a yod or a finger of fate. Give, but to a point that is sustainable, that does not require you to give up the fundamental essence of who and what you are. I mean, I've seen wonderful people get co opted by that sense of desperation, because that too is equally a spiritual test for all of us. Do what you can, no more and no less. No more and no less. Everyone can only do so much, and that is okay. Because I was writing to one of my teachers yesterday, and I kind of went, I don't know what to do. Everyone's getting hit right now. I'm doing the best I can. What can I do? What can I do? And his answer is very simple. You're doing the best you can, and I'm doing the best I can. And that's it. The outcome is not in our hands. And this is something which it takes a lot of humility and a lot of acceptance to also internalize when we are on this path of helping others. Because very often our mind gets programmed in certain ways saying, well, if you can do this, and if you have that perspective, and if you have that magic wand, everything's going to be la la okay. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes the situation is just bigger than what me or you or anyone is equipped to handle. And this is when we need our faith. This is really when that hand of faith needs to hold your heart and allow you to let go of what is not your responsibility to do. Unfortunately, not enough people have stepped up to their responsibility. Most of you following me will be on the other end of the spectrum. You probably take on too much. But a lot of people on this planet have not done enough. Because if they had, we wouldn't be in this shit show. So, that's you've got to understand which side of that spectrum you're on. Are you someone who has given too much? I can raise my hand for that one. Are you someone who has done too little and expected someone else to bail your ass out? And that's when you have to step up. So right now, we need to be committing ourselves to a sustainable collective legacy. Begin at the energetic level, where you do not need to drain someone else, nor do you expect yourself to bail out or hand out anytime you need it, but you first look at yourself and your relationship with spirit as the source, as the start. Of course, everyone needs help at different parts of their journey, but there needs to be a balance of it. You must respect your facilitators. You must make sure that you are not asking someone to drain themselves. For what? So you do not learn how to carry your own weight? So you do not learn how to deal with your own baggage? That doesn't help anybody. And this is exactly the space where facilitators need to find a balance point. And you don't have to be a spiritual facilitator for this to apply. Anyone who is giving care, who is providing a service in their own way, is providing something. From someone who works at a canteen to someone who sweeps the floor, whatever it is, you are doing something that is a service beyond yourself. So this will apply to you in different ways. But at a physical level, at a health level, please be aware of the energies. Take care of your physical body. Take care of what you need in the 3D to thrive, and then go and help. Thriving doesn't mean 10 yachts. Thriving means maybe take a multivitamin. Or maybe my standards are too low that way, but at the very least, for yourself to be in a situation where you are whole and you are hale and hearty, then help. Because if you come from a space of, a cup that is not as full as it could be, and you're busy trying to go and, pour out what little you have to everyone else, nobody's going to get enough. You need to start from that place of inner abundance before you decide to be generous with it. And I said inner abundance. I ain't talking about having a fat bank account. I'm talking about abundance within. And the only space that can come from is spirit. Hui, that's what I wanted to share about the new moon. So this theme, I want you to be aware of it over the next couple of days. It's okay to be caring about yourself at this time, especially if you haven't done so in the past. All right? Now, I'm going to quickly look at comments. Here we go. All right, I'm not going to do hellos today. We'll do that for a hello neighbor. I'm just going to focus on uh, any questions. And I do send all of you love, but I really just needed to get this out. Except I do want to recognize that Osset has a new fur baby kitten. Nice. Let's see. Soul's Old says they messaged me yesterday saying you need my help. Book a session, honey. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else? VB says people in authority entrepreneurs saying that tech companies like Twitter and social media banning that moron was not fine. I really don't understand. It's because they're also fascist bastards. So, whoever who's saying that, please don't let them get into politics. Let's see. Souls all wants to know my website. www.theskypriestess.as.me. You can just look it up online. Book a session with the Sky Priestess. Just Google it, man. Google. Okay, let's see. Megan says, so relate. My asthma, lungs, and energy has been a real struggle. I remember we were talking about this in 2016, giving out way too much in my work. I agree. Light says, wonderful. My solar return is approaching, and I feel unapologetic about focusing on myself. I like what Light Simone says. I need me more than anyone else, before anyone else. That is fantastic. Now, obviously, taken too far, that goes into severe narcissism and blah 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 blah, but we are not talking about that. Any principle taken too far can go into some form of pathology. But yes, you need yourself first. You need your consciousness, you need your body, you need your material capacity to exist and be. See what I mean? So that's a very good statement. Thank you for sharing that. But yeah, I would say that about wraps this up. You know me, I'm not going to like inflate my channel with this is happening and that's happening and that's happening, because you know what? Shit's always happening. But I will give you the most important kernels of things. And this is the most important thing that I want you to take carrying with you into the days of the new moon. Take care. Oh, hang on. Anything on the situation in USA in the new moon energy. More idiots are going to turn up with guns. Simple. And people have to be ready about that. Uh, okay. Lady Luck wants to know, I came on late, but did you discuss why the energy is so dense? Yes. New moon conjunct Pluto, that'll do it. VB says, is this a time where a lot of churning will happen and probably a time when things in the collective will be in settling place? Yes, it is a churning process, but that settling energy, you're only really looking at it 6 to 7 years from now. We are nowhere near a kind of, normal. Marilyn, I understand, but really anyone in the US who is not aware of this really needs to get their head checked. Literally, Twitter has indicated that there are plans for further attacks on government buildings. No, for reals, they need to be prepared, especially if they live in an area where these kinds of energies are very, very prevalent. More idiots with guns. That's what's going to be happening. But yeah, it's not a pleasant situation, but we keep it real here. So for people and it actually does bring me to a good point. So thank you for that point, Marilyn. If you are in a situation where, you know, um, if you are in a situation where you are in a vulnerable position, or if you know someone is in a vulnerable position, because this is a time, especially with the Eris square to the new moon, this is a time where a lot of very volatile, ungrounded people are likely to act out. You need to get yourself or that person who is unsafe to a safe space. If you want to help, make sure that people have a safe space if you can afford to do so. That is the best thing that you can be doing. That is the best thing that you can be doing. All right, Susan, you're just joining in, but I'm just about to give online. Thank you for the birthday wishes and birthday season. It's certainly been a very, very intense time since the 23rd, since the 21st, actually, with the Jupiter Saturn conjunction. There's going to be a lot of shakeups. There's going to be a lot of shakeups. Find safe spaces and offer the same to people who are at the frequency to honor your efforts and to provide whatever balance exchange that you need and you require. And if anyone is trying to downplay this, it's up to you if you want to listen to them. So take care. Very many blessings. Be safe, all of you. Be safe. Emotionally, biologically, psychically, this is your time to pay attention to you. On top of that, we are also going to be seeing Therius, the hunter stalker, shifting back into the sign of Leo. So this is again that protection of the gut and that protection of the heart needs to be your focus at this time. If there's anyone vulnerable in your life that you can help without playing the whole grand martyr savior nonsense, go and help. That's about it. Cha cha for now. Bye bye.